actually just wanted to jump on today and create a video about the vaccination process that Grace has been through. I know there's obviously 3 lots here in the UK. I'm not sure exactly what it's like anywhere else, but she's had her final lot today. So I'm really excited that she doesn't have to be stabbed by any more needles for a while. But I do have a slightly crankier baby. So again, there might be a lot of cuts in this if she starts waking up and she needs me, but hopefully she lets me get through this. My husband is here as well, obviously, so he's downstairs. Hopefully he'll be able to calm her if she does wake up. Hey guys, just a really quick note in the middle of this video. If you like this content or you want anything specific, just like, comment, subscribe, and let me know. Thanks. Vaccinations. So there are 3 lots that you have to go to if you're in England at least. I'm not sure what it's like anywhere else in the world, but they are done at 8 weeks, 12 weeks and 16 weeks. So if you are new to the channel, you won't know, but my daughter was a 30-weeker, so she was born when I was 30 weeks pregnant. So when she was actually 8 weeks old in the real world, out here in the open, she actually should have been in my tummy still, and I should have been 38 weeks pregnant. So when it came to her first lot of jabs, she was still really tiny. She had been allowed to come home for about a week. So I think she was just over 4 pounds. She was maybe 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. So she was still very tiny, but she was allowed to have her jabs and there was no reason she shouldn't. So she went down to the doctors. I felt terrible and terrified and I didn't know how it was going to go. But we went off to the doctors, and the nurse, who's actually been my nurse as long as I've lived in my village, she sorted her out, she did all of her injections, but she had to use a really, really tiny baby size needle, really diddy needle. And yeah, they actually went really well. Grace didn't actually cry. I don't want to say it's because I think she was used to needles, but she probably was used to needles, which is sad. But anyway, so she had her jabs, she was okay. For your first set, obviously don't take this as medical advice. I would double check with your nurse or your doctor, whoever's administering them, or if you're still in the hospital and your baby's having them. However that's done, obviously they'll tell you. But my nurse said that for her first lot, she had to have 3 stat doses of Calpol. So that was to be done 3 times in the day that she'd had them. Like, as soon as we got home was the first set. Then 4 hours later the second lot, and then 4 hours after that the third lot. Now the only thing is with a Prem or a Prem of a certain size, you have to double check with your doctor. They'll do a calculation for you, but they're not supposed to have the same amount of Calpol as what it says on the box. So obviously if you just take a step back and I just really quickly explain it to you. At the point of Grace having her injections, she was actually 2 months old. She had been born 2 months before, but she actually wasn't due for 2 more weeks. So technically she wasn't even 2 months old, which was her corrected age, which is the age we should go by. So on the Calpol leaflet it says do not give before 2 months. But obviously Grace was actually negative 2 months. She wasn't old enough. She was practically a newborn, as in people come home with babies that are born at 38 weeks and they're newborns. So it had to be a different amount. So make sure you check that if you have a Prem baby or a very small baby. If you're going to have your jabs done, I would make sure you double check that kind of thing. She did really fine. She did fine. The Calpol is actually there for them in case they get a temperature. So she didn't. She was good. Obviously maybe that was because the Calpol kept it down, but she actually got along really, really well with her first set of jabs. So the 8-week jabs, Grace actually did have when she was a little over 8 weeks. She had the 6-in-1, the meningitis B, and the rotavirus vaccine. So the 6-in-1 kind of is your roundabout one that you usually hear of. I think you have that 3 times. So you have like your tetanus and your polio and things like that, Hep B, all of that lovely stuff. The special note is that the rotavirus one, that's actually a live vaccine. That's given in your first and second vaccination, so your 8 weeks and your 12-week vaccinations. So it's the live one. It's given orally in most cases, I think in all cases. And that actually just means that you have to be very careful when they go to the toilet after they've had their vaccines, because it can come through in that way. Now her second set of jabs, that was a completely different story. She didn't have to have the Calpol again, didn't have to have that. It's something to do with the same jab that's in the first one is also in the third one and wasn't in the second one, so she didn't need the Calpol for the second lot. But there was a second dose of live vaccine, so you have to be very careful with their with their poop, because it goes in their mouth, it comes out orally, and therefore it travels through their system. And if you get it on your hands, obviously I'm hoping people keep their hands clean after they change their baby's nappies anyway, but you just have to be extra careful. It can give you a bad tummy too as a parent. But yes, so second lot, she didn't have to have the Calpol, but she actually reacted quite badly to them. Well, that's probably the complete wrong way to say that. She didn't react in any way that was untoward, but she was not herself. So she was a lot more fussy, a lot more cranky, she got very clingy, didn't want to be put down, and on top of that, she actually didn't go to the toilet for number 2 for, I think it was 5 or 6 days, whereas before that she'd been very regular and she was going either every day or every other day. So just wasn't really herself. So the 12-week jabs, Grace actually did have a little later. She had at 13 weeks, not by much, but that did again have the 6-in-1. It also included a PCV vaccination and again the same oral rota vaccination that she had before that I told you about. Again, I think you just have to be careful with their poop. Today, her third lot of jabs, finally, so we don't have to go through this again. Again, like I said earlier, it did have that same, I think it's Hep B. I might be completely wrong. I'm gonna check what was in them. It had the same vaccine that was in the first lot for immunisations, and which meant she had to have the 3 stat doses of Calpol. She has been quite sad today. She's usually very smiley and happy and chatty and giggly, but she has not been today. She's not wanting to be put down. She's crying while she's awake, but she's obviously still a little bit happy. Like my husband came home, she was smiling at him, she was really happy to see him, and then she started crying again. She's not herself 100%. But she does need her third lot of Calpol later. The 16-week vaccinations, we've made it, we've got to the end of the third round. So Grace actually had her vaccinations today. She was 19 weeks yesterday, so again a little bit later, but we couldn't quite get in the doctors before this date. So she had them today. Again, it was the 6-in-1 that she had right at the start, and she had the meningitis B, which she only had at the start in the 8-week ones, and not her last round. Like I said in the first lot, for the meningitis B jab, it does mean that you have to give 3 stat doses of Calpol. I'm not a medical professional, that's what my nurse told me, so I would double check that with your nurse or doctor. Now Grace is officially 2 months old, corrected. She can have the full dose of Calpol. I double checked that with the doctor and the nurse because she is still quite small. She's 9 weeks corrected and she's 10 pounds. So, I mean, she's not tiny, but she's not the biggest baby there ever was, but that's fine. If you liked this video and the content, I'd be super happy if you could like and subscribe, and obviously let me know what you'd like to see in future, because I do want to be here and help you with any experiences that I've had, or if you want to share your own experiences, that would be amazing. So yeah, like and subscribe guys, thanks, bye!